My name is Rajathon, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about the books that I read, well, after the first half of December, but before Christmas and while I'm still here. Sorry for that messed up intro, I should totally have thought that through before I started filming. So I'm now in a different location, and those of you who've watched me for a little while may recognize this location. This is the conservatory at my parents' house, and before my partner and I moved in summer 2020, we lived with my parents on their property, and so a lot of the videos on my channel before I think September 2020 is the first time I put a video up that I recorded in a new house. A lot of those older videos were filmed here, either from this angle or that angle. And my partner and I are here now for a week. And I thought it'd be nice to film while I'm still here. So it is currently the 22nd of December. I will probably finish another book before the end of December, because there's still almost a week in December as I'm filming this. Although by the time you watch this, yeah, I don't know when I can actually edit this. So because I have to be at my own house at my computer to edit this, so it won't be until, yeah, anyway. So I thought I would talk about the books that I read while I was here, although not going home just yet. So I might still finish something before we leave, but anyway. It won't be long now, and I wanted to do this now. It is cold. It is, I think, around freezing temperature outside. It was -5 degrees Celsius early this morning. It's probably warmed up a bit, but I don't know if it is actually above zero or below zero at the moment. But yeah, and this room has a glass roof and mostly glass walls. You can see in that wall is not glass, that's a James house. This room is not heated at the moment because, you know, you lose a lot of heat and stuff. So it is pretty cold here, and so I don't want to be here too long. I'm just being here for the video and also to water the plants and stuff because it is cold here. But in spring, once you have more sunshine and such, it can warm up here quickly, and it's possible to, for example, have lunch here, because by then it'll be warmed up enough that it's comfortable to be here. But currently it's just a bit too cold. I'm just gonna talk about the books in the order that I finished. There's one buddy read among these, and the rest I read on my own. Yeah, anyway, we'll just get started. So the first book is I Overcame My Autism, and all I got was this Lousy Anxiety Disorder by Kurchak. This is an autism memoir, and I felt like reading it, but reading an autism memoir, so I picked one to bring here, and so I read this. I think it was Ramsey from the booktube channel Rajathon who recommended this to me. But Ramsey, if it wasn't you, and I don't know if you still watch my videos or not, but anyway, if it was someone else and it was you and you remember, then I apologize. But anyway, I really enjoyed this memoir. I'm calling it a memoir, but I think she mentioned that she actually wrote it more as like a series of essays. But either way, I really like this. Here is the table of contents. There are some pictures there as well, as you can see. So I don't want to show it for too long. And Sarah is from Canada. And there were a bunch of things that I recognized, as happens usually when I read autism memoirs, because I am autistic too. And I love books and reading, and I also really like to read books about autism because, well, it's nice to find people that you can relate to, and well, since, you know, 99 at least % of like people in books are normally neurotypical, yeah, that it's such a nice thing. Anyway, I really like reading autism memoirs. I should probably make a video about that at some point. But yeah, I really like this. There are footnotes now and then and like literature references. I honestly didn't know that professional pillow fighting was a thing ever. I had never heard of that. I thought that was very interesting to read about. So this is, well, actually here is a more lengthy synopsis. And so part of, you know, in her career, Sarah was a professional pillow fighter, which again, I didn't know that was a thing. That was really interesting to read about. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Then I read a trilogy of graphic novels. The first one is called The Witch Boy. These are all by Molly Knox Ostertag, by the way. Then we have The Hidden Witch. And thirdly, we have The Winter Witch, although this one is also by Molly Knox Ostertag, but Maarta Laiho also worked on this, I think. Did she do the coloring? Yeah. Now, books 1 and 2 I have read before, and I don't know. I think there are videos of that on my channel, so I'll try to find those. But if there aren't, then there won't be a link in the description to those. It was a joy to reread the first 2. It was really nice to read the third one. I only recently found out that the third one was published, so I ordered it and now I read it. I wanted to reread the first 2 first because it's been a while. So book 1 is about Astor. That's his name, right? Yeah. Astor, and in his family, all the women learn witchcraft and all the men learn shapeshifting. And that's how it's always been, kind of thing. But he can't seem to shapeshift, and he wants to do the witchery lessons that, you know, the girls normally do. Astor's a boy. I really enjoyed rereading this. I will show you a few of the pages. The art is nice and colorful. So this book has some, it's about gender expectations, and at least in my opinion, it has some analogies to also people being trans. And well, anyway, it was just really nice to reread this. Well, book 2 introduces a new character. Oh, sorry, here is the synopsis for the first book, if anyone wanted to see, because this is a hardcover, so there isn't a synopsis on the back. Yeah, so in the first book, Astor also meets a girl called Charlie. Yeah, so book 2 introduces a new character. So don't read this book if you haven't read the first book, because it will spoil some aspects of that and stuff. But yeah, The Hidden Witch is about, well, this bit I can tell you, dark magic has attached itself to Astor's friend Charlie. I can read that bit. And then book 3. Anyway, and I also really enjoyed book 3. And it was especially nice to read this while it is December in the Netherlands, because it is winter here and it's cold, and there are some, well, like snow and ice and like winter references. So you see this would take place on the northern hemisphere, because I know there are also people from the southern hemisphere watching. No, not lots, but some. Well, I know that mostly from comments, not because YouTube analytics isn't that great in it. There was also one. I just had a picture in here of that has a Christmas tree, for example, in the background, and since it is almost Christmas as I'm filming this, although we will be back home before it's Christmas. Yeah, okay, we're moving on. I really enjoyed this fantasy trilogy. And I would say this is not adult. I would say it's YA or... Then I read Heartstopper Volumes 1 through 4 by Alice Oseman. Books 1, 2 and 3 I've read before. Volume 4 was new to me, but before I read Volume 4 I wanted to read the first 3. I had read book 3 only once before, and when I read book 3 I read the first two. So I've read book 2 3 times now, and book 1 4 or 5 times, I think. This is actually the Kickstarter edition. So the author did a Kickstarter. I made a video about this before. I have a signed copy. I made a video about this before, and then eventually she found a publisher. So these are published by Hodder. They have also published the first volume afterwards, but I have like a special. I'm rambling. Volume 5 comes out next year in 2022. Although when you're watching this, it might be 2022. But yeah, and that will be the last volume, and I am pretty excited to read that, and then first read the first 4 again, probably. So this series is originally a webcomic, so if you are curious what it's like, you can read the webcomic for free. But I like reading in paper book format rather than on a screen or something, so I like to buy books and read them, and also that way I get to support you. Anyway, so this is about Nick and Charlie. They fall in love. Here is a synopsis on the back. This is pretty popular, so I think a lot of people will have heard of Heartstopper, or will have already read it, in fact, because I know, yeah, I've talked about it with some of my viewers. So yeah, this is the second book. Then we have the third book. In this one, they go on a school trip to Paris, and this was the fourth book. I really enjoyed, because this one was new to me. Really love this volume. I love all the volumes. These two are really cute together. And there is also mental health representation, particularly in books 3 and 4. So a content warning for that particular book. I think the author said it actually. Yeah, here. There is a content warning. Pause if you want to read that. But yeah, and I like that she put like some deeper, heavier topics in, as well as with some of parts of the story that are more lighthearted. I just love it. And some of the characters' friends are also part of the LGBTQ+ spectrum. Yeah, this was great. I wasn't expecting it to not be great. Then I read book 6 in the Phoebe and a Unicorn series. This one is Phoebe and a Unicorn in the Magic Storm by Daniela Simpson. And I felt like reading something comforting again, just like the first 2 bits were part reread. This wasn't a reread, but I have read books 1 through 5 in this series, and they're just really comfy. Well, these are for older children, or like younger middle grade, I don't know. So for me as an adult, yeah, I just really enjoy reading this series. One difference with the first 5 books is that because the first 5 books, there were more individual stories in the books, individual like 4-panel comics kind of thing, whereas this book is like one story, the whole book is one. Does that make sense? Obviously it's the same character, you know, Phoebe and the Unicorn are in all the books, but the first 5 volumes had sometimes more, sometimes individual stories that didn't always. This is more like a novel, whereas the other one felt more like short stories, if that makes sense. Anyway, I really enjoyed this. This comic book series is funny, at least to me, and hopefully also to children. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Then another graphic novel. Oh. This is Dogman, A Tale of Two Keys by Pilkey. This is book 3 in the Dogman series. But in the beginning, the book briefly talks about how Dogman came to be and such. Here's back. Although it's nicest to read them in order, but I'm just saying, if you for some reason would have the third book, then yeah. And you know, the same with, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I enjoyed this. I was reading this when my brain was tired. I was feeling, I was having a bit of sensory overload, and when my brain gets like that, it is not really possible for me to read adult books or, you know, anything more complicated. If I can even read, sometimes I can't read at all. If I have very much sensory overload, I can't read, I can't do anything. But anyway, when I have a tiny bit of energy left still, sometimes I can read like children's books, and just the visual of it can be helpful sometimes. So something familiar that I hadn't read this before, but I read the first 2 Dogman books before, so like I'm familiar with all the characters and what the illustrations look like and the colors used, and so yeah. Here is a dog Pamuk, well, our dog Pamuk. Can't really see her. She's right, well, she's looking out the window. Did he die? What did I do? I enjoyed this. I read it when I was in the mood for it, when it was something I could read. Because when I have a lot of energy, that's not often, then I can sometimes be more in the mood of reading a young adult or an adult book or something that's a bit more complicated and stuff. But this was just right for what I wanted, what I could do at that time. And then the last book, it's called The Night I Met Father Christmas by Ben Miller, with illustrations by Daniela, Jaglenka, Terrazzini. I buddy read this book together with Linda from Linda's World of Books, and neither one of us really liked this book. We buddy read the Christmasaurus book 2 earlier this month together. That was, I think, wrong grammar, but the Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch, we read that together earlier this month. We both loved it. It was very original, and this book is kind of a retelling of A Christmas Carol, and before Linda and I started to read this book, we didn't know that at the time. So I feel like if you know that going into it, you'll enjoy it more. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more had I knew that. I did realize it at some point, and then I watched a BookTube video in which I think it was Julie from the Hungry Bookworm, but if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, mentioned that, like, at least I didn't remember that that's what it was when I started, because the synopsis doesn't actually like mention it, and I feel like if you know that going into it, then you'll probably enjoy it more, because Linda and I had just read that Christmasaurus book 2 by Tom Fletcher, and that was very original, and so to then find something that is not as original felt a bit disappointing to us. That's not to say that it is a bad book or anything. I mostly got this because I like Ben Miller, the actor in Death in Paradise, the British TV series. I love that series. Yeah, I love the Death in Paradise TV series, so I wanted to read this book. I've had it on my shelf for a while, but I wanted to read it during Christmas, and last December I didn't get around to it, or I don't quite remember, but Linda and I wanted to buddy read this book together, so we did that now this December. Yeah, so here's a synopsis. It's a story inside a story. So we start the book and with the character Jackson, and one night Jackson meets Father Christmas, and then Father Christmas tells Jackson the story of how he became Father Christmas, if that makes sense. And we go back and forth between that for a while. I do like that the pages have got little snowflakes there, and there are illustrations in the book. Let me see if I can find one. Oh, here is one example. So there are some that are like the whole page. Here is like a smaller one. Here's another one. Because of the text and the spacing and everything, it didn't take me long to read most of the time. Linda and I read 5 chapters a day, given that the book is It's less than 300 pages. It has 35 chapters per day. It didn't cost me like lots of time most of the time, but it was also not that I was like really eager to continue. I had no problem putting the book away after the 5 chapters to then pick it up again the next day, if that makes sense. Most of the time I didn't feel like suspenseful that I must know what happens next sort of thing. And well, once I realized it was a Christmas Carol retelling and I got more used to that, I was able to enjoy it a bit more, because if you expect something like wholly original, well, obviously it can never be wholly original because it's based on, you know, Father Christmas and the elves and all that. But anyway, so in the end, this was a middle of the road read for me. I didn't love it. I didn't absolutely hate it. I didn't DNF it. Although I think Linda might have enjoyed it less than me. But yeah, so this isn't getting a high rating from me. In fact, kind of a low rating for how I normally rate books. But it wasn't like that I did lots of things like wrong, in the sense that there was not, as far as I know, not really any hugely problematic elements or anything like that. So I think I am gonna give it 2.5 or 3 stars. So like, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't great in comparison to the other Christmas books that I've read this month, which were all, well, most of them were quite good. It was just a slight bit of disappointment because of the other great books that I've been reading, if that makes sense. There were bits of humor in here, and hopefully I can edit this together in some sort of video that isn't like hugely long. I'm getting quite cold now sitting here because it really is. Actually, there's a temperature thermometer right here. Yeah, it is 10 degrees in this room, Celsius. You can see the frost outside. Yeah, I don't know if you can really see that, but I don't know if the frost is visible or not. It's melted a lot already. So it's 10 degrees in here now with the sun shining, as you can see. And it's a bit chilly for, you know, people don't put the heating of their houses normally at 10 degrees Celsius because that is not really that comfortable. So I'm gonna go back to like the warm rooms now. But yeah, I wanted to film this video, so, but yeah, I won't be able to edit this before I get home. After I get home, and then it's Christmas, and so I don't know when this is going to be up, but we'll see. I've been actually uploading a lot of videos earlier in December, so I don't know, maybe people are sick of seeing my face anyway after all that. But putting December's books in only a couple of videos would maybe help with that. So, because I made one video that you will already have seen in your subscription box if you checked, about the books that I read in the first half of December, and now there's this one, and then I'll probably make one video for any books I read after this and like before the end of December, but we'll see. I don't tend to read like lots because, you know, Christmas and all other things going on. The Netherlands is currently in lockdown, so I mean, not that I'm really going places anyway, but last year during Christmas in December, Netherlands was also in a lockdown, and before that was before the pandemic and before we moved. So when I was living here, it tended to be busier between Christmas and New Year's because we'd be seeing family and, well, but that's obviously not as much of a thing this year. So yeah, maybe I'll be reading more, but I don't know. I might also play some video games and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. On a more serious note, this year will be the first time that near the end of December is my grandparents' anniversary of their wedding, and that was something that we, before 2020, always celebrated with the whole family, although I didn't always go, but now obviously in 2020 there was a lockdown and everything, so we didn't see each other. I'm not sure if I can't remember exactly if there was like a video call or something involved. But anyway, my grandfather passed away past January, so this will be the first anniversary that my grandmother is on her own. And then there's New Year's, which, yeah, I really don't like the sounds of fireworks. My dog doesn't either. Yeah. Now, this year there is a ban on people setting off fireworks. Saying in the Netherlands, this year there is a ban on setting off fireworks because the hospitals are so full with COVID patients that they can't handle to also have lots of firework victims. And every year, despite the government campaigning for this ever since I can remember, we have people in the Netherlands have firework related injuries, some people who do it to themselves sort of thing, and some people who are like bystanders. There is unfortunately, yeah, some years also, well, usually at least one person who passes away. Anyway, this year there is a ban on fireworks because the hospitals are full of COVID patients already, hence the lockdown. Anyway, but I don't think that a lot of people are really going to care because officially, normally it is only allowed to set off fireworks on the 31st of December between specific times. So I think it's from like 6 in the evening, excuse me, to 2 in the morning on New Year's Day. That is normally the only time and time and date that you're allowed to set off fireworks. However, in, well, all the years that we've lived here, and we don't live here anymore, but there are people over there setting off fireworks. In my new house, in the new neighborhood, it is the same thing. People set off fireworks at completely other times, although it does tend to get worse, like October, November, so it tends to get worse and worse towards the new year. And then once it's a new year, it's not as bad normally. So I don't really think, I think there will still be lots of people setting off fireworks at New Year's. I am very sensitive to sounds, so loud bangs are not something that I like at all. In fact, they scare me. Huge sensory impact. My plan for New Year's Eve is noise cancelling headphones while laying in bed, because I'm not gonna, there's no point staying up. I probably just try to get some sleep while I can before it gets too noisy. When I still lived here with my parents, I have stayed up for sometimes. The last couple of times I did that though, and I actually went outside to look at fireworks back then when it was allowed, because I've never set them off myself. I don't want to. It can be nice to look at, but anyway, I think the last few times it was so foggy and stuff that from here I couldn't really see much anyway, so I was like, well, I stayed up for that. Yeah. And last year, the first year that I was in my new house, I just went to bed and obviously woke up around 12 from the noise, because I go to bed pretty early. I wake up early, I go to bed early. That's been my rhythm for a really long time now. Back in the day I had to get up early to catch the first train to go to university. There is a train, speaking of. And even though I don't need to get up early anymore, my biorhythm is such, I'm not a night owl at all. I have most of my energy in the morning, and after that it tends to dwindle in the evening. It's not much at all, and I normally just want to go to bed after dinner. So, although we do have dinner pretty late in comparison to many other Dutch people, so I should point that out. I normally go to bed around 9 o'clock, so, or between 8 and 10 if you want to make it a little bit bigger, but usually 9ish, but it depends. Anyway, what was I going with this? Fireworks, yes. So yeah, I don't like New Year's Eve. Lots of people also drink alcohol then. I don't drink alcohol, so you know. Anyway, it's my least favorite festive day of the year. But gladly it's just one day of the year. But yeah, every year though I am saddened by all the firework related injuries, particularly if they're, you know, bystanders or young kids, you know, who the young kids, you know, if they're really young, they don't know better, you know. Anyway, that's a whole discussion. I seem to have gone rambling a bit. I hope you're having a nice end of the year, assuming I post this before the year is actually over. If I don't, yeah, should I remove all this rambling rubbish? Possibly. And yeah, at least we have some sunshine today. We did yesterday as well, but before then the skies were very grey and gloomy, and it was cold. It's now even colder, but it's sunnier, so thank you very much for watching this video. And I plan to do a video after the year is over with the favorite books that I read in 2021. I don't know if I'll do a bit with like worst books I read in 2021 or not. I'll have to check and see if I actually have many books to actually put in that to make that a separate video, whether I'll just tack it onto my favorites video. But I fear my favorites video is going to contain a lot of books, so we'll see. And then as usual, I plan to do a statistics video, giving an overview of my reading statistics of 2021 and comparing them with earlier years. But since last June, I have a new computer, so I have to work out how to, because my screen resolution is bigger now. So, but anyway, that's all for me to do and for you to see what it's. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope 2022 will be a good year for lots of people. Thank you very much for watching this video, and for commenting and liking my videos if you do so, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!